world is stunned to discover that prehistoric creatures exist in the 20th century.
Dr. Shikasawa, statement, please.
Is Godzilla coming?
Yes, he is. He is approaching, quickly. If we do not destroy Godzilla, soon, the monster will destroy us all.
People, LP 2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to another edition of Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And yes, we are finally here. Oh my god, I've been teasing this guy. I've been showing off this guy for the past, what, 2 or 3 months since I got him? Oh my god. Yes, you're in for a great review today. And again, you already clicked the title. You know who we're covering here. And again, after months of me teasing and showing them off, we are finally getting to this review for today. So strap your seatbelts in, ladies and gentlemen. We're off to a fun ride. Yes. So without further ado, let's dive headfirst into this amazing, awesome, brilliant, spectacular model kit review. And today we're taking a look at the KOC-Tokyo 40cm resin model kit of the 1962 Godzilla, aka the KingGoji, from its epic iconic appearance in the awesome and epic film celebrating 60 years this year, the one and the only King Kong versus Godzilla. And as you can see, I have the beautiful kit here, as well as the alternate head here. And yes, this thing is so amazing. Oh my god. And can you believe it? King Kong versus Godzilla celebrates 60 this year. I feel so old. I feel so old because if you grew up with this film like myself, this film was is a big reason why a lot of us became Godzilla fans in the first place. If you're an 80s baby or if you're born in the 70s, you grew up with King Kong versus Godzilla. And the fact that this film is celebrating 60 years this year, God, I feel old. Not to mention that Gigan celebrated 50 years a couple months ago. Last month, I should say. And yeah, we're getting up there. But at the same time, it's still fun to remember all those fun days on Saturday afternoons, especially in my case, where, you know, after the cartoons were over, it's too bad they don't show cartoons on Saturday mornings anymore. That's kind of tragic. But back in the day, you know, with me, you know, you had like a big block, like a morning block of Saturday morning cartoons from 7 in the morning till like 12 in the afternoon. You know, Ninja Turtles, the Super Friends, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Bugs Bunny, and all that good stuff. Heathcliff or Garfield and his friends. Then 12 o'clock, either wrestling will come on or they would show pretty much a Godzilla film, at least where I'm from in North Carolina. And a lot of times they would show King Kong versus Godzilla. And King Kong versus Godzilla was one of the earliest films I watched growing up. early in my Godzilla fandom. It's a film that really made me more of a fan. My first film, of course, you already know, was Megalon. But after seeing King Kong versus Godzilla, I was like, yeah, I there's no turning back for me. But yeah, it's amazing. This film is celebrating 60 years this year. And KOC has done an outstanding job with this 40cm resin model kit of the KingGoji in all his glory. And normally I show off the packaging before we get into the figure, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it didn't come with like any really stylish artwork type of packaging. You know, it came like really in a big brown box, you know. Excuse me. But it did come with like two sheets of paper. One was a promo shot of the figure, or at least of the model kit once it's built and assembled and painted and all that good stuff. And I think it does have an autograph from the sculptor behind this sculpt, the one and only Akira Ibaraki. More on him later. So that was good. It also came with some legal jargon, like it shows again another picture of the figure or the model kit, as well as the head and some other legal jargon. It's in Japanese. I don't know what it's saying, quite frankly, and I would normally trash it, but again, since this figure, or at least this model kit, is so awesome, I'm keeping everything that's associated with this kit, except for the box that's been long gone. So again, this is great. This is so great. So let me give a huge shout out and thank you to two special people that is responsible for making this video happen. First and foremost, Charles Blankenship, and also the one and the only David Eric Dopko, my great friend, my awesome friend, my fellow co-host on Collect All Monsters. And let's talk about the backstory about me getting this model kit, and we'll go into how Charles Blankenship and David Eric Dopko is associated with that. Now, when I first got my hands on the KOC 1964 40cm resin model kit, again, thank you to Sandra, thank you to AJ, thank you to David, and thank you to Rich Iso. When I got my hands on that kit late last year, I want to say summer of last year, 2021, that really opened my eyes. Because again, Akira Ibaraki has been doing like a few versions of these 40cm model kits. He's done one of the 62, he's done one of the 64, he's done one of the 54, he's done one of the 99, which I do have. Stay tuned for that video. And he's also doing one real soon, I believe, of the 1955 Godzilla, yes, Gigantus, or infamously Gigantus. I know a lot of folks don't really like that design, but I enjoy it. I know Gojira 851 loves Gigantus, or Godzilla 1955, so I'm hoping to add that into my collection real soon, or at least when it does drop eventually, hopefully this year. But he's done like a few versions of this 40cm style of resin model kits, you know. And after getting my hands on the 64, that really opened my eyes, like, you know what, I should try and go after more of these kits. Now, around late last year, when I started seriously trying to find these kits, especially after the pre-order window has closed for some of these kits, especially the 99, especially the 62. The 62 started dropping in people's hands, I want to say late last year, I want to say around October, November, December. Like I said, going towards the tail end of last year. And again, since the pre-order window was closed, it was really almost impossible to try to find one in the wild, quite frankly, because everyone who pre-ordered one, that was spoken for. You know what I mean? And again, kind of like X Plus figures, or more so scarce than X Plus figures, you know, they make a small quantity number of these model kits, you know? So if you pre-order one and locked in for one, then you're good. But trying to find one after the fact is really kind of hard to do. So I started putting out feelers everywhere. I was like, look, hey, if you know anybody that has a KOC 62, please let me know. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Doc Mack, because he was very instrumental in this too. And when I started putting feelers out there about me wanting to get this kit, Doc Mack was like, hey, there's a guy named Charles Blankenship that does have one. He may end up trying to sell it. So I, thank you, Doc Mack. So I immediately went to Charles. I was like, hey, if you don't want it anymore, hey, I can take it off your hands. And we struck a deal, and he sold it to me. And not only that, he was like, look, who are you going to have build and paint it for you? Because if you find somebody, I can actually, instead of me sending the kit to you, and then you have to turn around and send it to somebody else, I'll just send it directly to the person that's going to build it and paint it for you. Which saved a lot on shipping, because again, this kit is it's a resin kit. It's really heavy, very fragile, and the box was heavy and really sizable because of KingGoji being so big and massive. that the shipping wasn't cheap. So again, that saved me some money for having him send the box to me and then have to send it to somebody else. So since I have David lined up to build and paint it for me, I just had Charles send the kit to him directly. And David was really excited about doing this kit, even though he did have some reservations, because he lives in Seattle, Washington. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. You couldn't get more polar opposites of the country than that. You know what I mean? It's like New York and Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? And he was really, he had his reservations, like I said, of sending resin model pieces over long distances. Now, vinyl kits is really not much of a big deal because it's vinyl. They don't break easily. You know what I'm saying? But again, he was like, look, I'll still do it for you because KOC, at least these 40 centimeter style of kits, what they've been doing is like they send the kit to you in pieces, which normally how model kits are anyway. But these kits are magnetized. At least certain pieces are magnetized. Like the head is magnetized. Again, you can alternate the heads between the closed mouth and the open mouth. More on that later. They have the bulk of the body. His hands, both his hands, are two separate pieces, and the tail as well as the main row of dorsal plates. And that's good versus having to send a fully intact resin model kit over a long distance, you know what I'm saying? Because the chances of it breaking are really, really high. And David didn't want to take that chance. And I really do appreciate him for doing that because he could have very easily been, you know, somebody that's all about the money. You know what I'm saying? He could just taken my money, built and painted the kit, sent it fully intact and not care about how it was going to get to me, how it was going to arrive to me. Because honestly, if you sit down and think about it, once he sends it off, it's really not his responsibility anymore. He doesn't control how the package is going to get handled in the time that he sends it to me. So he could just been very easily say, you know what, I'll just take the money, build it and paint it, and how it gets to him, that's his problem. But David doesn't operate like that, and that's one of the reasons why he's one of my go-to artists when it comes to me finding a model kit and needing somebody to build and paint it for me. So I appreciate him doing that. But again, the cool thing about these 40 centimeter style resin model kits is that, again, it comes in pieces. So he can build and paint the kit, you know, with the pieces, put it all together to see how it will look, then take it apart and then put it in the box where it'll travel separately and really safely that way, packed in styrofoam. And then once I get it, I can put it together myself because it's really not that hard. So I really appreciate him doing that. And I really appreciate Ibaraki doing this with this style of kit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's resin, and like I said, you know, it's brittle, you know, it can damage, and unfortunately, if it does become damaged, it's kind of hard to repair that type of damage. With vinyl, you kind of can more so easily, but with resin, it's really, really hard, if you can at all. So again, I appreciate David Eric Dopko for taking on this project, for being passionate about this project, because he and I kind of share kind of like the same feelings when it comes to certain movies. Like our favorite movies, Mothra vs. Godzilla. We love King Kong vs. Godzilla. And by him being passionate, he's able to paint it exactly like how Godzilla looked in the film. And I had no issue with the paint job. More on that later. But again, thank you to David. Thank you to Doc Mack. Thank you to Kiri Ibaraki. And thank you to Charles Blankenship for helping me get this model kit. And again, with this acquisition, it opened my eyes more to get more model kits. As I mentioned earlier, I got the KOC 1999 40 centimeter resin kit, which will be up for review real soon. I just got my hands on the Monster Maker 28 1975 Godzilla. I just got my hands on the Resin Chef 30 centimeter Mothra Larva. I'm expecting a Millennium model kit sometime real soon. So again, I've been kind of shifting my focus collecting wise more so lately. I'm still an S Plus supporter. I'm still an S Plus collector, Spiral Studios, Roto Kaiju, but I'm getting more into model kits now. And after seeing this guy, can you really blame me? So that is the backstory for me getting this figure. Again, I got it from Charles, as I paid for it from Charles in November of last year. It was sent to David. David finished it, I want to say, I think, was it January? I think he finished January. And I got it late January going to February. And again, it's very timely because, again, the fact that I got this, even though I bought for the figure, for the model kit last year, the fact that I was able to get it this year on the 60th anniversary of King Kong vs. Godzilla of the KingGoji is very, 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 very appropriate. So that's pretty much it with the backstory for me getting this figure. And again, this thing is amazing. Let's get up close and personal with this guy. Oh my God. 10 out of 10. Let me just get that out the way right now. 10 out of 10. This thing is amazing. It is perfect. It is my most favorite KingGoji collectible in my collection. I have a few, which you'll see in size comparisons later on. A few of the KingGojis, I should say. And he shot up to the top of the list. As soon as I unpacked this guy, put it together, I was like, yeah, ain't nothing topping this one. Of course, I had the gigantic from X Plus. I had the original 30 centimeter from X Plus. And they both look great, but God almighty, this one is like a step above that. And when it comes to model kits, that's the thing when it comes to me. Maybe some people will agree, some people will not agree. But I think that when it comes to a model kit, the two most vital things when it comes to a kit is that the sculpt has to be perfect and the paint job has to be perfect. And Ibaraki did a great, 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 great job. Perfect job, if you will, when it comes to the sculpt. And again, if you're unfamiliar with Akira Ibaraki, once again, he's like one of the best sculptors out there. He's up there with Sakai. He's up there with Watchmaker 28 Niwa. He's up there with Goro. He's up there with the upper echelon of just great kaiju sculptors. He is definitely in my top 3 of favorite sculptors or kaiju collectible sculptors. And again, I'm sure you're familiar with his work, because if you're an S Plus collector like I am, I just mentioned the original 30 centimeter KingGoji. You know what I'm saying? That figure, that was an original Akira Ibaraki sculpt, right? The 30 centimeter 1964 Godzilla, which is regarded as one of the most celebrated Godzilla figures from S Plus of all time. That wasn't an S Plus sculpt. That was originally an Ibaraki sculpt, right? Or the 30 centimeter 1999 Godzilla version 2 that came out through Diamond a few years ago. That was based off a KOC kit. Once again, sculpted by the great Ibaraki. The 2021 figure of the year of S Plus, the 30 centimeter Megalon. That was an Ibaraki sculpt. You know what I'm saying? And I also read recently that he also had a hand in a 25 centimeter Destroyer. Oh my God, so when you look at Destroyer, the Megalon, the 62 and 64, the 99, and now you see this guy, and of course if you saw my KOC 1964 review, oh my God, Ibaraki got some hands. He got some hands, let me tell you. And again, I think that when it comes to model kits, the sculpt has to be perfect. Otherwise, if the sculpt is kind of off, but yet the paint job is awesome, yes, the figure looks great, but still something doesn't mesh well because the sculpt is off. And vice versa. If you have a perfect sculpt, but yet the paint job isn't what you want it, or how you wanted it to be, or how you like it, again, it's like a mismatch. It just doesn't flow well. But when you get the perfect sculpt mixed with the perfect paint job, you get yourselves a perfect model kit. And that's exactly what we have in our hands right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, this thing's amazing. Before we get into the sculpt, more so in the scope, I should say, again, just like the KOC-64, just like the KOC-99, I'm not sure about the 54, but I know the 64, the 62, and 99 came with alternate head. It came with alternate head, you know what I'm saying? A closed mouth version and an open mouth version. And it also came with a magnetized stand that you can put the head that you're not using on the model kit onto the stand itself and have like a little great presentation. You know what I mean? And again, you can just exchange the heads at will. You know what I'm saying? And it's seamless. You know what I'm saying? Again, the way he sculpted it, like I said, the way you put it all together, there's really no seams on this figure. You barely notice it unless you get a close up on it, quite frankly. And even then, it's barely noticeable. But the fact that you can alternate the heads from the closed mouth to the open mouth, or vice versa, the open mouth to the closed mouth, it's amazing, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, if you saw my KOC-64 video, I mentioned there that between the two heads, I actually prefer the closed mouth look of the 64 because he looks more sinister and more evil that way. But with this one, it's the exact opposite. I actually prefer the open mouth roaring head of the 62 versus the closed mouth. Don't get me wrong, the closed mouth KingGoji's head looks great, but between the two, I prefer the open mouth one. Like I said, a stark opposite from the KOC-64. So again, the fact you can do that, interchange the heads like that, that's really, really, really good. And again, the sculpt is amazing. It's really similar to the, like I said, the X Plus 30 centimeter KingGoji sculpt, which I've always said that is like the best version of the KingGoji that X Plus has ever done, even though technically it's not an X Plus sculpt. X Plus scope, excuse me, Ibarake's. But again, you can see like really the similarities between both the X Plus version as well as the 40cm version. Basically, this is just a better, bigger version of the 62. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what it is. But what he did, it's amazing. Oh my God, the sculpt is flawless. You know, you capture like the bagginess of the suit. You know what I'm saying? He looks so cool. You know, even when you look at it from the front, he does look more sinister, which was kind of like hit or miss with the KingGoji in the film. There were times when you looked at him head on in the film, he looked like a Muppet baby. I'm being real with you. You know what I'm saying? There are times he did look sinister, but it was very few far in between, quite frankly. But I don't know what Ibarake did in this sculpt, because sometimes artists would take, artistic liberties and kind of change a little bit here and there. He may change a little bit on the brow. He may change a little bit on the bulk of the body. He may change a little bit here, change a little bit there, you know, and just put their own little spin on it, you know what I'm saying, where it's kind of subtle. But I think he kind of made it somewhat more sinister looking on the head when you look at it from the front. Because when you look at it from the front, he looks really sinister. I would say kind of like Rivals of 64, just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. But that was kind of like really like the main complaint, or at least I won't say a complaint. I would say that's something that I've noticed when I watch King Kong vs. Godzilla over the years. Like from the side view, he looks again like he's ready to attack Tokyo and kill everybody in sight. But when you look at him from the front, he kind of looks like he's about to attack a 4-year-old's birthday party. But Ibarake, how he did the sculpt of the head, again, when you look at it head on, and when you like change the posture of the KingGoji here, where he's like leaning forward a little bit, he looks really sinister. And speaking of that, it didn't came with a tail stand. As you can see here, I got him propped up on a tail stand. It's an S Plus tail stand I wasn't using for another figure. It didn't come with a tail stand, but I found out when you put a tail stand underneath this Godzilla, it looks perfect. It looks absolutely perfect. So again, the sculpt of the figure or the model kit looks amazing. You know, the tail, long, elegant tail looks amazing. The dorsal plates, oh my God. That's one of the best things I love about this Godzilla, and I'm glad it carried over into the next suit, my favorite suit. But I've always loved the dorsal plates of this Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? When you first see this Godzilla in King Kong vs. Godzilla, of course, it's in color. It's the first Godzilla film that was in color. And the popular misconception at the time that Godzilla was green. But when you watch the film, like, he ain't green. Kind of sort of like a dark charcoal gray or light charcoal gray. He would get darker as the series progressed. But here you really get a clear image of what Godzilla looks like, color and all. Of course, they dropped the ears from the 55 and 54 suit. You know, he doesn't have the 4-toe scheme on his feet. It's been now shrink down to 3 toes, which is good. You know, whatever. Some people would say, or at least what's known about this Godzilla is the fact that he looks more reptilian. Whereas the 54 and the 55, he looks very prehistoric. But with the KingGoji, he looks reptilian, which is really good. And again, Ibarake's captured that in this amazing sculpt. But the dorsal plates, aside from the head, that's probably like my favorite part about this model kit, because I love the dorsal plates of the KingGoji. Again, the fact that it carried over into the 64, I love that too. So again, the sculpt is amazing. The claws sharp a little bit. His hands are kind of like typical KingGoji, basically. You know, the head, like I said, the different heads, you know, with the open mouth head, you know, the teeth individually sculpted. Everything looks great. There are contact lenses on the eyes, which, you know, kind of gives them more of a sinister look, which looks great, protects the eyes. Again, the dorsal plates, the bagginess of the suit, or bagginess of the model kit insert areas. The toes, amazing. The tail, amazing. So now we talked about the sculpt. Let's talk about the paint job. And this is where my awesome friend David Eric Dopko comes into play. Because in addition to him being an awesome pillar of our community, an awesome host on Collect All Monsters, an awesome tour photographer, he is an awesome artist. We all know that. There are many of us out there in the community that have gone to him and said, hey, I got a model kit. I can't build it. I can't paint it. Can you help me out? And for a slight fee, right, David? He took on the job, and he is not out of park every single time. And I have to say, this thing is amazing. And I have a few model kits from David. Of course, I got the KOC-64, which is awesome. I got the Asai Gabbera kit, 31cm Gabbera kit, which is awesome. You know what I'm saying? David knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Oh my God. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the two most vital components of a model kit is the sculpt has to be on point and the paint job has to be on point. And he did a phenomenal job. He looks great. He looks great. Oh my God. Just the paint job is it's just flawless. There's really no words to describe it. It's just flawless. David knows exactly what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Even though there was some more people who got this kit and they started showing off theirs, David was seeing those pictures. He was like, "Man, I wish I would have done this with Leslie's. I wish I would have done that with Leslie's." And let me just tell you, David, if you're watching, I'm thoroughly satisfied. You ain't got to change anything with what you did with this model kit. You did a perfect job. You did a phenomenal job. Your rendition of your paint job on the KingGoji looks exactly how he looked in the film, and I could not be even more happier. So again, thank you so much for doing this for me. I really do appreciate it, despite your reservations, as I talked about earlier. But again, you did me a phenomenal service. So between David Eric Dopko, Akira Ibaraki, the paint job, the sculpt, the interchangeable heads on this awesome model kit, oh my God, in my opinion, in David's words, the quintessential KingGoji, or the 1962 Godzilla. Once again, celebrating 60 years this year. This thing is phenomenal. It is fabulous. It is amazing. Trying to find one. If you want one, I won't say it's impossible to find one, you know, because you never know. I mean, I'm living proof. By all intents and purposes, I really shouldn't have this model kit. I was able to look into it, kind of like how I looked into the 64. Kind of how I looked in with the 99 KOC. You see a pattern here? Sometimes, you know, you have to look into things. But to say that he's not out there, you know, I don't want to go that far. You know what I'm saying? I would say, you know what? If he's worth it to you, just keep looking. Just keep looking. You never know. But I did see, now this is kind of like KOC related, not 62 related, but I saw a conversation on Facebook a couple of years ago on one of the Kaiju Kit Facebook groups I'm a part of. And I read a conversation that somebody who's real close to Ibaraki-san says that Ibaraki is planning to reissue the KOC-64 sometime this year. So if you missed out on the KOC-64, you may have another chance to get this guy. And you never know, if he can reissue or if he would reissue the 64, especially when he knows the demand is there, I don't see why he wouldn't reissue the 62 under the same circumstances. So you never know. You may see this guy get a comeback in between you trying to find one online right now. But if you're able to find one, and if you're still not able to build a pen yourself, just get the kit. Worry about everything else later. Just get the kit, and trust me, you will enjoy it. You will love it, just like I love it. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it with the backstory, up close and personal. Again, thank you to Doc Mack, thank you to Charles Blankenship, and of course, thank you to David Eric Dopko for making me so happy for getting this guy in my collection. Yes, yes, yes. This is so amazing. This is so amazing. So let's do a couple size comparisons. I mentioned earlier that I do have a few other KingGojis in my collection. Just a few. So let's bring them all together, paired up with this guy in the first size comparison where we see all the KingGojis, all the 1962 Godzillas from King Kong vs. Godzilla in my collection. So let's do that first size comparison right now. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison, and yeah, all the KingGojis. Can you believe, again, this guy right here is turning 60 this year in just a few months. Can you believe that? Oh my God. Oh my God. All the KingGojis I have in my collection. I have a few. When I was putting this together, I was like, daggone, I forgot I had these many 62s. But again, King Kong vs. Godzilla was one of the staples of my childhood. You know what I'm saying? Even though it may not be in my top 5 of favorite Godzilla films, it's in my top 10. But again, this film resonates a lot with me. It really does. At least from a childhood standpoint, which kind of just morphed into how I am today, quite frankly. So I owe a lot to this. I owe a lot to this movie as well as this design. And these are some cool representations of the KingGoji. So let's start from left to right. Of course, you have the X Plus 30cm Favorite Sculptors line walking version of the 1962 Godzilla. The second version of the 62 that came from the Favorite Sculptors line. I had the first one, but that figure didn't really sit right with me, so I since sold it. Don't regret it. I just don't like that version of the 62. But this one I like, especially with him in a walking pose, and of course I got the Rick with that awesome base. So that's amazing. Right there in the foreground, of course, you have the alternate header of the KOC. In the main foreground, you have the Devil Real 1962 Godzilla, which looks amazing. Of course, behind him, the man in the hour, the KOC 64 40cm. Of course, the big guy in the back, the standard gigantic 62. I had the Rick too. I double dipped, but I sold the Rick. You know what I'm saying? I regret that though. I regret selling him. But I had that figure too. The blue dorsal plates for the Rick was amazing, but still a great gigantic. One of the best gigantics that they ever done. And of course, to the right of him, at least to the right of the screen, I should say, the 30cm 62 Godzilla. Of course, it's sculpted by Ibaraki. And again, you saw the simulators earlier between the two. And down in the foreground, at least lastly down there at the bottom, you have the NECA 1962 Godzilla, which, you know what, that's a really good figure. Consider what you pay for it and the fact you can find it at a local Target, you know, that was cool. That was a cool grab for me to have. I don't know why I didn't do a review on that one, you know, but that figure really surprised me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I really don't collect the NECAs, quite frankly. But that figure really surprised me. It really is a cool figure. So if you're able to find one, especially if you're a KingGoji fan, please get it. Now, is it X plus quality? Not really, but the paint job is. I will argue that the paint job is X plus quality, but it's on a NECA figure. And it's really cool. It's really, really cool. So as you can see here, I have my share of 62s. Will I get more? It just depends. I think the next one that I probably will get, if they do make one, if they make an Yuji Sakai 62, then I would definitely go after that one. Because Sakai did do a 30cm version of the 62. And hopefully we'll get that this year from X Plus. Hopefully. Because the sculpt is amazing. But that's probably be the last one, or the next one I get, if they do choose to do another 62. But as you can see here, this is great. And just to whet your appetites, once again, on Collect All Monsters, I want to say, I think King Kong vs. Godzilla celebrates its anniversary officially in August. So hopefully in August, on Collect All Monsters, I will get together with Brutezilla, Butch Bollinger, David Eric Dopko, as well as Steve Sarajoli, and we will have a 1962 KingGoji discussion where we will all get together and discuss our favorite collectibles of the KingGoji. And as you can see here, I'm going to come well prepared. And Steve too, because Steve has a great, awesome KingGoji collection. So stay tuned for that discussion come August on Collect All Monsters as a side project. But that's it with the first size comparison. With all the KingGoji I have in my collection, they look well. But again, my favorite one is the KOC. My top three would be the KOC, the 30cm X Plus, and the Gigantic. You know what I'm saying? And the Gigantic looks great too. But again, just the KOC is tops. Hands down. Top three, KOC, X Plus 30, and the X Plus Gigantic. And those are my top three favorite KingGojis. But the other ones, they're great too. You know what I'm saying? So let's go with one more size comparison. You know what? We've been talking about King Kong versus Godzilla and mostly focusing on Godzilla. So let's bring up the monster that he fought in this epic film of King Kong versus Godzilla with the next size comparison. And I think you know who I'm talking about. So let's do that size comparison, last size comparison of this video right now. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's all about. Yes, yes, yes. The final size comparison. We've been talking about the KingGoji for the past, 20-something minutes. Now let's talk about the monster that he fought, the epic opponent that he fought in King Kong vs. Godzilla. Of course, I have here, alongside the KOC 40cm 1962 Godzilla kit, I have the 30cm Roto Kaiju Giant Gorilla 1962, aka King Kong 1962. And yes, there's kind of some photo magic going on here. You know what I'm saying? Because I just said, King Kong is 30 centimeters, the Godzilla is 40 centimeters. So technically they don't really size well with each other, quite frankly. When you put them both together, size realistic wise, between the two kits, Kong does not size up well with this Godzilla. Hopefully Roto Kaiju can make a 40 centimeter King Kong. Hopefully. Hint, hint. Just putting that out there. But again, once you put these two together and once you put it in a proper perspective, and of course I have the awesome Mount Fuji backdrop that I got with the flying King Ghidorah 1968 figure I got a few years ago. You put this all together and you have yourself a great recreation of the epic battle between the god of Farou Island and the king of the monsters on the slopes of Mount Fuji. Yes, King Kong versus Godzilla. Yes, this is great. This is great. This is awesome. You can use this as your screensaver on your phone if you want to, because this is great. This is great. This is so awesome. And again, even though Kong does not size up well or really at all with this Godzilla, you can't deny that this is an awesome image. And even though Kong is not sized very well, he did win in the film. You know how to get that dig in there. You know he won in the film. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so that's it with the last size comparison. And yes, the quintessential King Kong 62 up against the quintessential 1962 Godzilla. This is amazing. Yes, yes, yes. So without further ado, let's go into my final commentary portion of the video where I sing the praises finally of the KOC 1962 Godzilla. So let's do that right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the KOC-Tokyo 40cm resin model kit of the 1962 Godzilla, aka the KingGoji from King Kong vs. Godzilla. 10 out of 10. This thing is so amazing on so many different levels. Again, if you thought the X Plus 30cm KingGoji was amazing, and it is. If you thought the X Plus Gigantic Series KingGoji was amazing, and it is, this one takes it on another level. Because this thing is made of resin, and we all know resin packs a little bit more detail, sometimes a lot more detail than what vinyl can do. That's what set this figure over the top and why it is my favorite KingGoji in my collection, you know what I'm saying? And far as size-wise, he's not super massive as the Gigantic. He's not small, if you want to call the 30cm X Plus KingGoji small. He's not that size either. So he's in the middle between those two, you know, and I think that's a great size. Now, as y'all know, I do have the KOC 64 resin model kit. And that figure, again, like the 62, is made of resin, and that's a really heavy kit. But because the 64 is slimmer body structure-wise than the KingGoji, this model kit is a little bit heavier than the 64. So if you do get your hands on this model kit, please be mindful of that he is a little bit heavy, on the heavy side. And when you pick him up, please try to hold your hand on top of the head here, because again, the head is attached by a magnet, again, where you can interchange both heads, right? But sometimes the magnet is not really super strong, and there have been times, especially on my KOC 99, where I picked it up and the head just fell off. And with this figure right here, I attached some super glue onto the hands, into the port of the body here. I put some super glue on the tail. I put some super glue on the dorsal plates. Again, those were the separate appendages that came with this kit, or as the kit came unassembled, I should say. So to make sure that those didn't pop out, I applied some super glue. But I can't really do that with the head, because again, there may be some times I want to change the heads, even though primarily I'm going to use the roaring one. But there may become a time where I may want to use the closed mouth head, but I can't use super glue to keep it permanently attached. So again, if you get this kit, please be mindful when you pick it up. Please hold on to the head. That way the head is not falling down. Because if it does fall down and hits a hard surface, because it's made of resin, it may be broken. And sometimes it may be broken beyond repair. But aside from that, this is an amazing kit. Yes, yes, yes. And again, I'm glad that I got this figure, this model kit, coincidentally on the year that this guy turned 60 years old. Yes, King Kong vs. Godzilla turned 60 this year. And normally this is around the part of the video where I talk about the film, but since I'm going to be going more into detail with this film in a couple projects on Collect All Monsters. Again, I have the KingGoji collectible show with Brutezilla, aka Butch Bollinger, David Eric Dopko, and of course Steve Serajoli. And we're definitely going to talk about King Kong vs. Godzilla there. I may do a deep dive into the film at some point this year in celebration of the film. So I'm not going to go into depth about how I feel about the film. I do love the film. Again, it's in my top 10 of favorite Godzilla films. It comes in number 10, you know what I'm saying? But still, it's in my top 10, which means it earns high praise in my opinion. But I will tell you, my top 3 moments involving Godzilla himself in the movie of King Kong vs. Godzilla. First and foremost, his entrance. And my God, his entrance is amazing. Coming out of the iceberg. Now, when I first saw the film way back in the day, again, this was one of the earlier films that I saw in my Godzilla fandom when I started to learn more about him as a character, and I found out, wow, there's more films of this guy out there. King Kong vs. Godzilla was one of the early ones that I saw. And so when I saw him come out of the iceberg, mind you, it was an epic scene, but at that point, I didn't see Godzilla Raise Again or Gigantus the Fire Monster, where I would have got the reference. You know what I'm saying? And again, as a kid, I didn't care. I just saw this big, gigantic dinosaur that can breathe fire break out of the iceberg, you know what I'm saying? And that was an epic interest. And in my opinion, you could put that in the conversation of Godzilla's probably most epic interests. It's got to be at least in the top 5. At least the top 5. The ones that come to mind for me for like best interests is, of course, this one. His interest in Mothra vs. Godzilla. His interest in Terror Mecha Godzilla. His interest in Biollante. His interest in GMK. His interest in 2014. Yes, I would say 2014. That is a badass interest. But you can also put this one at the top of the list too, or wherever it lands. But it's got to definitely be in your top 10 of most epic, badass Godzilla interests of all time. Yes, that's one of my most favorite moments from this film. His interest coming out of the iceberg. Number 2, when him and King Kong finally meet for the first time, face to face in the film. You all know the scene. You know exactly what I'm talking about. King Kong is coming in on the left in like a lower part of a valley. Godzilla is on a high plateau coming in from the right, and they both come at each other. You know, of course, they don't come to blows when you really sit down and think about it. You know, Godzilla kind of burns a little bit, but they don't really come to physical blows. Only until the very end do we see them actually touch each other or physically fight each other. But this was kind of like more so of a physical intimidation display. Kong comes in, he's beating his chest, he's roaring. Godzilla does the exact same thing. He's roaring, he's doing his little happy dance or whatever. And Kong is still roaring and beating his chest and trying to intimidate Godzilla. Of course, Godzilla ain't having none of that. And of course, Godzilla was like, you know what? I'm done taunting you. I'm done dealing with you. And he strategically waits until a helicopter flies near him. And as soon as the helicopter is in his position, he opens up with an awesome atomic blast and just lays waste to the helicopter. And King Kong's reaction is priceless. They show a close up of Kong's face, and he just like steps back a little bit, and his eyes are flickering. It's like he's saying, "I didn't know you could do that." Godzilla was like, man, nah, I'm not one of these ordinary dinosaurs that you have faced in the past. I'm a little bit different, you know what I'm saying? But again, that's like one of my most favorite parts of the film. Even though I'm a King Kong fan, but his reaction to it was like, I didn't know he could do that. And Kong, being desperate, was like, I gotta do something. Oh, I know. I just throw a rock at him. But Godzilla really outclassed Kong. I mean, I got to admit that. Godzilla really outclassed Kong in that moment right there. And that's my second favorite moment from King Kong vs. Godzilla. And my third favorite moment is when the military bombards him with their first military plan. You know, the plan where they dig that big, huge pit and they lure Godzilla into the pit. And then once he falls into it, they set off an explosion, which they think kills him. And there's like a momentary silence because, again, Godzilla falls into the pit. They make it explode. There's nothing. There's no roar. There's no sign of Godzilla actually surviving the trap. Right? And then the military slowly but surely get to the edge of the cliff. And then Godzilla slowly rises up at the last minute and lets out that awesome roar that says, nah. I love that. One of the very few times in this film where Godzilla comes across as sinister and very, very evil. Again, when you look at the suit in the film head on, again, he doesn't look very menacing. But like the nighttime shots when he attacks the train in the middle of the film, and again when they bombard him with that first plan, again, that takes place at night. He just looks real sinister at night. And again, him crawling up out of the pit at the very last minute to show them, yeah, what you're doing ain't gonna work. That's my third favorite moment from this film. So his entrance, the way he outclassed Kong with his atomic breath when they first met for the first time, and of course, him surviving the first military plan. Those are my top 3 favorite moments of the KingGoji from King Kong vs. Godzilla. I'm sure there's a lot more that you can choose from, quite frankly, because every time Godzilla is on screen, it's an epic moment, but those are my top 3 for me. But again, I'm going to tread lightly here with my in-depth analysis of my thoughts of the film, because again, I plan on going into it more so this year on a couple of projects on Collector Monsters. But those are my top 3 moments for me. So why don't you let me know in the comment section what are your top 3 favorite moments of the KingGoji from Godzilla, from King Kong versus Godzilla, so we can have some conversations back and forth. Do you agree with me? Do you find my moments epic? You know, do you have some more that you want to talk about? Let me know in the comment section. But until then, this is a great model kit, and I highly recommend it. If you can find one for a good price, please go after it. You would not be disappointed. Yes. So that pretty much concludes my review of the KOC-Tokyo 40cm Resin model kit of the 1962 Godzilla, aka the KingGoji. Best of a super cool appearance, the iconic, epic, brilliant, spectacular deathmatch film where the god of Farou Island took on the king of the monsters on the slopes of Mount Fuji. 1962's King Kong versus Godzilla. You have any questions, hop me down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Be Channel. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, awesome model kit. Again, thank you to Doc Mack. Thank you to Charles Blankenship. And especially thank you to David Eric Dopko. And of course, Akira Ibarake. But thank you to David Eric Dopko. You really have done an outstanding job, a phenomenal job. And again, you're responsible of making this guide my most favorite KingGoji collectible in my collection. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much. You've done me an outstanding service. I really do appreciate it. And again, I've been on like a real model kit lately. I think my next video, I mentioned this earlier, but I just got it from John LeGrand. Thank you, John LeGrand, for helping me out with this one. But the 30cm Resin Chef Mothra Larva, 1964. I think that will be the next video on my channel. I do have, again, I have the Monster Maker 2875 Godzilla, but I'm going to try and splice my videos up where I do a Godzilla video here, then the next one will be non-Godzilla, then go back to Godzilla, because again, I got the KOC-99 Godzilla model kit. And that review is coming up, you know, real soon. But the next one would definitely be the Resin Chef 30cm Mothra Larva from 1964. It's Geezer the Threaded Monster. So please look, be on the lookout for that. But again, I got the Monster Maker 2875 Godzilla kit, like I said. I'm getting Mechanicon from Roto Kaiju. I'm getting the Giant Gorilla 67 or King Kong 67 from Roto Kaiju. I'm getting the Millennium model kit. I'm not going to say who it is, but you'll see soon enough. But again, I'm getting really more so into these model kits. And they're fun. And also, again, if you don't have the expertise like I do to build and paint these things like they were, or how they look in the film, you got plenty of people to choose from in our awesome community. David Eric Dopko, Steve Serajoli, Steve Herron, Burley Vang, John LeGrand, you know what I'm saying? Just so many different awesome people. Mark Sang Yang, you know what I'm saying? Just great, awesome people, approachable people, and for a slight fee, because, you know, they don't work for free, and why should they, quite frankly, considering what they can do? Why should they work for free? So if you, make it worth their while, and if you find a good kit that you really want to get in your collection, get the kit, holler at one of them, and you'll get what has happened to me. In my opinion, as David would say, the quintessential 1962 Godzilla. Yes. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate King Kong versus Godzilla. 60 years of awesomeness on this very year. And again, if you can find this guy for a good price, please go after it. You will not be disappointed. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the KOC-Tokyo 40cm Resin model kit of the 1962 Godzilla, aka the KingGoji, from his epic iconic appearance from King Kong versus Godzilla. Yes. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Now we'll see y'all again on that Figure Move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.